Hey everyone, and welcome to our explainer on one of the most famous self-help books of all time, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Our mission today? To boil down its legendary advice into a quick 5-minute masterclass you can start using right away. So let's start with this killer quote from John D. Rockefeller. I mean, we're talking about one of the richest people in modern history, right? And listen to what he says he'd pay the most for. Not oil expertise, not financial wizardry. Nope. He said the single most valuable skill, the one he'd pay a premium for, was the ability to deal with other people. That single idea pretty much sets the stage for everything we're about to get into. That Rockefeller quote just nails it, doesn't it? It shows how incredibly valuable this skill is. So for this first part, let's dig into why this ability is so dang important. Carnegie basically asks this exact question. Think about it. In our world, we're obsessed with degrees, certifications, and technical know-how. But what's the one thing that truly separates the successful from everyone else? What's the skill that really commands the highest price? His answer was a game changer back then. And honestly, it's just as true today. Carnegie argued that real success, in your career, in your life, it doesn't really depend on what you know. It hinges on how you deal with other people. It's a skill that, formal education just tends to skip right over. Okay, so if getting along with people is the key to success, how do you actually do it? What's the secret? Well, Carnegie's entire philosophy is built on one simple core insight. Let's break that down. It all comes down to this. According to Carnegie, the deepest, most powerful drive in human nature isn't for food or sleep or money. It's the desire to feel important, to feel valued. That one single urge is the key that unlocks everything else. And right there, that reveals the huge mistake most of us make every single day. We walk into conversations totally focused on what we want. Carnegie's genius was in flipping that around. The only real way to influence another person is to stop thinking about what you want and to start focusing completely on what they want. This quote from the book says it all. You don't get people on your side by demanding things. It just doesn't work. Instead, you have to figure out what the other person truly, eagerly wants, and then show them how your idea helps them get it. If you can do that, Carnegie says, you've got the whole world with you. If you can't, well, it's a lonely road. So that all sounds great in theory. But how does it look in the real world? Let's make this super practical and look at 3 of Carnegie's most powerful, hands-on principles. So here's our game plan. These are the first 3 fundamental techniques for handling people. They might sound almost too simple, but trust me, the stories behind them show just how powerful they really are. All right, Carnegie's first big rule is that criticism is basically useless. And why is that? Because the second you criticize someone, they immediately get defensive. It wounds their pride, makes them resentful, and it absolutely does not create any lasting change. To really hammer this point home, Carnegie tells this just wild story about a notorious killer named Two-Gun Crowley. Picture this. The police have him cornered. Bullets are flying. And what's Crowley doing? He's writing a letter. And in that letter, he describes himself not as a monster, but as having a kind and weary heart. I mean, come on. Carnegie points out that even Al Capone saw himself as a public benefactor. So the question is, if these violent criminals don't blame themselves for anything, what hope do you have of changing your coworker or your spouse through criticism? Yeah, pretty much none. So if we can't criticize, what are we supposed to do? That brings us to principle 2, give honest and sincere appreciation. But, and this is a huge but, there's a massive difference between appreciation and flattery. Carnegie has this great line. Appreciation comes from the heart out, but flattery just comes from the teeth out. One is real and unselfish. The other is fake and selfish. And believe me, people can always tell the difference. And just how radical is this idea? Check out this story. When one of John D. Rockefeller's partners, a guy named Edward Bedford, made a bad deal in South America and lost the company $1 million, a huge sum back then, Rockefeller didn't yell. He didn't criticize. He found something he could genuinely praise him for. He actually congratulated Bedford for saving 60% of the money they had invested. That one act of appreciation built incredible loyalty, where criticism would have just built bitterness. And finally, we circle right back to that fundamental secret. Carnegie tells this great story about a father whose 3-year-old son just would not eat. No amount of nagging or pleading worked. So the dad took a step back. He stopped thinking about what he wanted, which was for his son to eat, and he asked himself, okay, what does my son want? Turns out the little guy really wanted to be big and strong so he could beat up a neighborhood kid who kept stealing his tricycle. So the dad reframed the whole situation. He connected eating with getting strong enough to take on the bully. And the result? The kid started eating anything and everything. That is how you arouse an eager want. Now, it's really important to get this next point. These principles, they aren't just little tricks or communication hacks. Carnegie was aiming for something much bigger, something he called a new way of life. You see, adopting these ideas isn't about faking interest or memorizing a script. It's about a deep, fundamental shift in how you see the world. It's about committing to genuinely trying to see things from other people's perspectives and acting from a place of sincerity and respect. It really is a whole new way of living. So I'll leave you with a little challenge. Think about a conversation you're going to have later today, just one. And in that conversation, I want you to forget about winning or being right. Instead, just try to see things from their side. Ask yourself, what does this person eagerly want? And how can I maybe help them get it? Try it. The answer might just change everything. Thanks for tuning in.